Welcome back, learners. So, as we have seen in the previous video, that we have completed the preparing the grid lines in the AutoCAD in the Etabs software. Now, you can see here when the grid lines are prepared and when it is given OK. So this is your the window which looks like. Okay. Now this window will give you the view from the top, what we call it as the plan of the building. See, before we move on to that, I would like to make you very clear that the Etabs software will follow this coordinate system. Okay, the Etabs software will follow this coordinate system. Okay, it means for Etabs, this is your x direction, this is your y direction, and this is your z direction. That is, towards the top is your z direction. This will be x, this will be y. Therefore, whenever we have given the grid line details, we have given the grid lines both in the x, that is this direction, as well as in the y, that is this direction, and we have given the building heights that will be in the z direction. Okay, so this view will give you the plan of the building. This window will show the 3D dimension. Okay, it will give you the 3D dimension. Now you can see here, students, we have the three options here, that is 3D, plan, elevation. Okay, we have the three option: 3D, plan, elevation. Now what I'll do, I'll just close this window, I'll make it into the single window. When the given plan or the given grid lines, if I want to see it in the 3D forms, what I can do, I can keep it in the 3D one. Now, if in case I wanted to see from the top, okay, if in case I wanted to see from the top, then we call it as the plan. Then you can see here there is an option called plan. Next to the 3D itself, there is an option called plan. Okay, if you click on plan, then it will ask you from where you wanted to see. See, I told you the software will consider it into three parts. It means, as per the client's requirement, our building is a G+1 building. It means if I wanted to show here, I can show like this. If this is my ground level, so above the ground level I have 2-story. Okay, so here to here, then here to here, then here to here. So then anyhow this I'm going to, yes, so like this. Okay, so therefore what I have done in the software, while giving the dimensions in the vertical direction, that is the building heights, I have given 2 stories, right? So this is my 1 story and this is my another story, and the heights of both the stories I have maintained safe. That is, this is also 10 feet, this is also 10 feet. But when the software gives you the grid lines, that will make it into 3 grid lines. One is this one, that is bottom. This bottom itself, the software will consider it as a base. The base represents this bottom line. Then here you will be having one grid line, that will be the ground story grid line. So that will be your story 1. Okay, then above that you can see another grid line here. So that will be your first story grid line, and that is your story 2. I hope you understood. Practically we never say it into 3 grid lines. We say G+1 building, that is, this is ground, this is first. But the software, definitely we are going to model only the 2-story only, this one and this one, but the software will show you the 3 grid lines. One is at the bottom, that is the ground level. One is here, another one is here. So in the same manner, when I give the plan, I can look the plan from here. Sometimes if I don't want to see this part, if I go to this story 1, then I am going to see the plan from here. If I want to see the base, then I can see the base, right? So now that you will be understanding very clearly. Now let us give the story 2. That means I'm looking the grid lines from the top floor. I'll give apply, I'll give OK. Now you can see that this is, we are looking from the top. Okay, it will show you plan view story 2, that is 20 feet height. Now if I want to see the plan from one story below, you can see here there is an upward and downward arrows. This is move up in the list, this is move down in the list. So just click on this, you will come to the next floor. You can see here now the plan view, that is story 1. Z is equal to 10 feet. That means you are looking the grid lines from the 10 feet height. Again, if you come down, now it will show you plan view base Z0. That means you are looking the grid lines from the ground level itself. That means if I want to say here, if I keep, again I'll go back, you can see here if I keep 20 feet, that is story 2, I'm looking the grid lines from here. If I go down and if I show that Z is equal to 10 feet, that is story 1, it means I am looking from here. If I go one more and if it is showing base, that is Z is equal to 0, then it means I am looking here only. Okay, yes, that is about the plan, that is looking from the top. Now along with the plan, you have an option of, you know that you have an option of elevation also. What do you mean by elevation? Elevations means something you are looking from the front by standing front. So therefore usually we call that as front elevation as well as side elevation. If you look from the front, then we call that as front elevation. If you look from the side, we call that as side elevation. Now this is 3D. It will show you X, Y, Z, all the 3 axes. Now when I make it the plan, it is very clear that you are looking from the top. So when you are looking from the top, your Z axis cannot be seen. Only your X and only your Y axis can be seen. Therefore when I make it plan, okay, when I make it plan, you can see here Z axis which was there in the blue color, it cannot be seen. You can see only X and you can see only Y. Okay, you can see only X axis and you can see only Y axis. Okay, it's very clear. Now you have another option. If I want to see the building from this side, what we call it as front elevation. If I want to see the building from here, what we call it as front elevation. Then what I have to do, I have to change the view. How it is? Next to that you have an option called elevation. Now can you see here, whatever these numbers are there, all these numbers are shown here also. You can see A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. All numbers are there. Okay. Now if I want to see from here, okay, I have to stand here and I have to see. Right. That means when I am looking from here, so now I can see these grid lines. Right. So then I have to choose, I have to start from here, that is my last is K. If I give apply, you can see here, now you are seeing from here story. Okay. So if you want, I'll add the one more window. Now it will be very clear to you. Right. So now this is, you are looking from the K. Okay, where is K? K is here. See, just see here students, click on your scroller, so you will give an hand option like this. So wherever you want you can move. Right, just hold your cursor, okay, just hold your cursor on the mouse. This hand option will come and you can drag the picture, okay. And you have another option, what you call this as rotate the 3D view. For example, if you want to rotate this, you can click on this. You can rotate like this by clicking the right button of the mouse. Okay, so like this. Again, when you click on the 3D, it will come back to 3D position. So therefore now K, again, if I select like this, it will become C. That means it will move to the next view. Then D, you can see it is changing here. E, then F, then G, then H, then I, then J, then K, right? So the K was the last, right? For example, what I am showing is, I'll just close this, I'll make it into 3D. You can see as students, I'll just rotate this like this, okay, I'll just rotate. You can see here, if I zoom in, you have A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Each will show you grid lines. Okay. In the same manner, if I want it in terms of 1, 2, 3, I will give apply. Then you will start moving from like this. So like this, you will start moving. Right. So when I select the plan and when I start from A, then you will start moving in the X direction, whereas when I choose 1 and when I start moving, I'll move in the Y direction, right? Make it as 1, apply, OK. Okay, so this will make it 3D only. You can see 1, then, right, sorry, 1, then 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So like this, we are going to move. Usually, whenever we are doing, we usually keep them in plan. Okay? Yes. So this is the basic things that you should know. One is the 3D view of the given grid line, then the plan of the given grid line, then elevation of the given grid line. And you can see here, this is the pan that wherever you want to move, and this is for the 3D rotate. Wherever you want, you can rotate like this. Along with this, the one more important option that you should know here is this story. What is this one story, all stories, similar cell stories? You have a doubt. See here, students, this building is a two-story building. Okay. Now, if my positions of the beams as well as the positions of the columns as well as the positions of the slab or even the loading on all the slabs, the materials used for all the beams, slabs, everything, if everything is same for all the stories, then what I can do, I can choose all stories. Then when I choose all stories, if I do for the one story, that will be applied to all the stories. For example, if I draw one beam here, that beam will be drawn to all the stories which is present below or which is present above. Okay, so therefore I can use this option all story when the properties, whether it may be section or whether it may be load or whether it may be dimensions, if they are same for all the stories, then I can use this all stories. Okay, then I can use this all stories. If in case for each and every stories, okay, for each and every stories, the properties are different, or the loads are different, or the section dimensions are different. So everything is different means, then if I keep all story and if I apply, then what will happen? So that will be there that will be assigned to all the stories, which is wrong. So that time I cannot use all stories. I am supposed to use the one story only. So when I choose one story, okay, when I choose one story, the story that you wanted to do, you can select that and you can apply or you can assign those materials or loads or section only to that particular story. Then you can go to the next story and then whatever changes is there that you can apply. That option can be used when you have one story, that is one story. Then along with this one story and all story, you have another option called as similar stories. What is this? For example, you have a three-story building. Out of the three-story, the first story and the third story are exactly same. Okay. Whereas the story which is present in the middle, that is second story, there is a small change, there is a small deviation. In such case, what I can do, instead of selecting the one story and applying for the first story once, then again applying for the third story once, then applying the second story once, what I can do, I can choose the similar story and I can choose which stories are similar. So I told you, for example, in a three-story building, my first story and third story are same. Then what I can do, I can choose the first story and third story. Then when I apply the materials or loads or sections or whatever you do, that will be applied only to the first and third story. The second story will not get disturbed at all. The second story will not get disturbed at all. It will remain as it is. Okay, it will remain as it is. So none after that, once the first and third story is applied, then you go to the one story and select the second story. Then whatever the changes is there, that changes you can make it in the second story. Okay, so that is the application of these stories, that is one story, all story or similar stories. Now in the problem I have taken, as it is a first and the simple problem, for me all the stories are of same nature. Okay, but keep it in mind students, if you see the plan, 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 okay, if you see the plan, you can see here, this is a ground floor, this is the first floor, therefore there are small changes here, therefore I cannot use for the beams. The columns I can use all story because the positions of the columns are exactly same. Positions of the columns are exactly same, but the positions are beams are not same. Therefore, when I am applying the column, I can choose all story, but when I am applying the beam, I cannot choose all story. I have to choose the one story and I have to give the beams for the ground floor and then the first floor. Okay, so this is about the story. Now, along with this student, along with this, I would like to make you very clear that I told you ours is a G+1 building, that is two-story building. Definitely below the ground level, definitely below the ground level, definitely below the ground level, we will be having some column and then we will be having the footing. For example, if I take this itself, you can see this is my ground level. Definitely my column will be taken little bit below the ground level like this. Okay. And then there we are going to provide the footing like this. Okay, we are going to provide the footing like this. Yes or no? Definitely we are going to provide like this only. Okay. Yes. But you can see here, student, in the software we have not given this dimension. You know, this is the roof beam of the first story. This is the roof beam of the ground story. And here comes your plinth beam, that is at the ground level. So below the ground, you have some column. And this is your plinth beam which is provided at the ground level. Below that, you have some column. So this depth we have not taken, that is your depth of the foundation. Then who's gonna give you the depth of foundation? The depth of the foundation will be given by the structural engineer, will be given to the structural engineer from the geotechnical engineer after assessing the soil. That is, after assessing the safe bearing capacity of the soil, the geotechnical engineer will say, no, based on the SBC that I am telling you, from below the ground level, you are supposed to give the foundation of this much feet or this much meter, and he'll tell you, okay, this is the SBC of the soil. That SBC of the soil, that is what you call it as safe bearing capacity of the soil, that can be utilized for the design of the footings. This dimensions we have not given in the software. So therefore we are supposed to change. Okay, we are supposed to change it. Now, let us assume that based on the SPC, below the ground level, we need a depth of the foundation of 5 feet. Okay, let us assume. When I take up the next problem, I will give you the formulas to calculate that also. Now, initially, let us assume that 5 feet is the depth of the foundation which we require, that is below the ground level. Now, I wanted to change this. Is it possible? You may have the question, is this possible to change the grid lines? Yes, it is possible. How you can change? Can you see here there is an option called edit? There is a second option called edit. I'll just click on this edit option. When I click on this edit option, this drop down box will come. In the drop down box, you can see here edit stories and grid system. Again, I'm repeating, I'm going for edit. When I click on the edit, this dialog box drop down box will come. In the drop down box, I will select edit stories and grid system. When I click on this edit stories and grid system, you have an freedom to change the grid spacings of the X, grid spacings of the Y, even the grid spacings of the Z. Now I wanted to change the grid spacings of the Z, that is I need to change the heights. Okay, therefore I will go here. Can you see here, modify or show the story data? Modify or show the story data. I'll just click on that modify or show the story data. You can see here base is 0, base is 0, story 1 10 feet, story 2 10 feet, totally it is 20 feet. Now what I wanted to do, I just need to add one more story here which is of 5 feet. It is not a story, but the software will not understand that it is below the ground level. No, the software don't have that much intelligence to bifurcate the ground level and above the ground level and below the ground level. No, for the software, everything starts from the bottom. That means for the software, the origin is from this point only. It will take everything which is, it will assume that everything is present above only. We know that this 5 feet is present below the ground level, but software will not understand. It will assume that here to here 5 feet, here to here 10 feet, here to here 10 feet. Totally from here it becomes, so 10 plus 10 plus 5, 25 feet. It will consider like that only. But we know that this is the ground level 5 feet, below that we have footing. No. So therefore I am supposed to add here. What I'll do, I'll just click on like this. Okay. Yes, can you see here? I'll just click on here. I can see that add story, right? Add story. Now you can see here, it will ask you keep the existing story height, keep the existing story elevation. So now I need to keep the existing story height. I'll just keep the existing story height. Okay. Now you can see here, I'm just again repeating this one. I'm right clicking, add story. I'll keep existing story height. Now it will ask you how many number of stories you wanted to add. I wanted to add one story that is just below the ground, that is below the story one. One. What should be its height? I told you it is below the ground level. It is of 5 feet. I will make it 5 feet. Now, where you want to insert new story location, it should be at the base. It should be at the base. See, I choose the base and replicate the new story. Nothing to be done. I'll just give OK. Okay. Now can you see here 0, 5. From 5 to the next it becomes 10, therefore 15, and from there again 10, 25. Everything is added. Okay. So here you can make, right? So 0, that is base, 5, 10, 25. 5, 15, 25. Just give the refresh, give OK. Okay. Right. Now if you see the plan, you can very clearly understand that. See, this is top view 25, that is this grid line, this one. Then when I moved on, it is showing 15, that is this one. Then again when I moved on, it is showing 5, that is this one. And again when I moved on, it is showing 0, that means for the software this is the starting point. So now everything is clear. Because what will happen if we won't add that ground level, then we cannot able to give the plinth beams. That's why we are supposed to do that. Now exactly everything is proper. So once all the grid lines are ready with the software, your next step is you are supposed to define the materials. So what is the next step? How to define the materials? That we will see in the next lecture. Thank you, students.